What is up, my friends? We are here on another episode of Level After Next podcast, where every week we're going to be your accountability. We're going to give you the inspiration. We're going to hopefully make you laugh a little bit. And at the end, you're going to have every desire to go forth and slay. So let's do this. What's up, my peeps? Katie Burnett. I'm so excited. This is the first time that I've gotten to sit down and record a solo podcast in a while. And there's going to be more of them coming. I don't know that I've really announced it on here yet, but I have partnered with an incredible production company, media company, to record another podcast. It's going to be called If You Lead Them. I'm going to drop the information in here. It's with Leon Media Company, and they're just an amazing group of people with some really incredible podcasts already on their docket. And I am just super honored to get to take part in that. And also what it's going to allow is for me to be myself here. Not that I am not normally, but I will be interviewing a lot of professionals and leaders in industries, in politics. I get to interview a professional football player next week, which is so fun. He's retired, but he's awesome. So who's doing great things as far as leadership. So I can't wait to be able to kind of have these two places. And, you know, in the last year, since getting to start this incredible project with Level After Next, that was really my dream and goal for a very long time. I opened up my podcast to interviews, and I have loved it. I can't tell you, I cannot express enough how amazing the podcast world is and how incredible the people are who I get to meet. I mean, they're just fascinating, and I cannot believe just the innovation and the intelligence and the drive. I've seen it, but to be connected with so many who have done so many amazing things is just such an honor. So we will still have some interviews, but I also am excited to just talk about the things that I love to talk about. And here's the deal, right? If I'm going to be totally honest with you, straight up, my son started junior high this year, and his friends find me online. The teachers and the parents find me online. That's weird. I was talking with somebody the other day, my first producer for this show, who is amazing. I was talking with him the other day, and I'm like, it's just gotten weird. Like when people in my town are like, oh, I saw you on Instagram. I'm like, no, thank you. No, thank you. I know that I'm putting it out into the world. Like, I get that. But I don't want to like run into somebody who knows who I am, or like meet my kid's friend who knows way more about me than I know about them. Like, I might let you down in person. I probably will. It's weird, and it's fine. I mean, it's not like I'm not like a freaking celebrity or anything like that, but it is just a strange thing when people know a lot more about you than you know about them. But that's also what I do, right? I'm also like, here it is. I love talking about all the things that happen in my life because I learned so much from them. So whatever, it's a double-edged sword. I'm like skating down the middle of it. It's fine. But here's the thing. His friends will find me online. And so I'm like, shit, like for reals, shit. Like I need to be able to talk about you. So the good news is that none of them are going to listen to a podcast, especially not this one, because I started out kind of boring. It's so strange. I feel super, and I'm going to get into this a little bit more, but I feel very, very conflicted right now because I don't really care at all about like a brand. What's a brand? I've talked about this a lot. I understand that if you go and hire somebody, they're going to be like, let's figure out your brand. And I work with people to develop their brand. But what really I'm working with is like helping people figure out who they are. And I'm not going to get into that, but with Level After Next, I help people develop business strategies. And mostly what that means is helping people determine who they are, what they care about, what's going to make their soul fly and make them excited again. And whether you have an actual business plan or not, like, I don't know what that is. I guess you can't really call it business coaching. I'm just a connector because I'm a connector and I'm a visionary. I can imagine the amazing greatness in people. I just can't help it. And all I ever want, I don't know. Maybe by the time you hear this, I'm going to start charging. I don't charge people for this because I'm like, well, I'm getting so much out of it. It's like so much fun and fills my soul because I know that I can connect people. I cannot build your app. I can't. I don't want to make your graphics. I could, but I don't want to. I can tell you what to do and I can connect you with the people, depending on your budget, who can make it happen. All right. Or I can teach you how to do it. So that's what I do. That's what Level After Next is. That's what the business strategist branding side of this is. So anyways, I get off track. ADHD. If this is your first time, like, welcome. Here it is. I don't care about a brand, but what I care about is loving what I'm doing. That's the only thing I care about. Because when I love what I'm doing, like this, I don't care if it has 8 million listens or 0. Like, I just don't care. I really, really don't. I don't keep an eye on how many views reels get. I don't care. It's always worked out. And I know that to be true for everyone. Know that when you are doing the right thing for yourself and your values are in line and you are aligned, like, this is not bullshit. This is real stuff you hear about all the time. And it's what every religion is helping you seek. It's what every self-help book is preaching. It's not BS. It's just hard to believe, right? So the problem is now that I can't talk crap about my kids online. And that's what I love to do. I'm only kind of kidding. I've been so sick. Hold on. I'm going to mute while I cough. Okay. So I'm like, I want to say that I'm kidding, but I'm really kind of not. I need to be able to talk about my kids. So, like, I can't do it so much online anymore. They do. Jameson will sometimes let me record him in the car and let me ask him stupid questions. That's really fun. If you haven't seen it, they're in my reels on Instagram. But I just ask him a bunch of random questions about baseball and he gets annoyed with me, but he plays along. So yeah, so I get to podcast about it now. And that's, going to be like an intertwining piece of this. So this is not just for parents. This is like life, but it's going to be related to my kids. So I'm having this like realization that kids are finding me online and they're friends with Jameson. And so it does matter what I'm doing. And I really hate that, like, so much. I wish there was a way to avoid it. The good news is that Facebook is totally for old people now. So I can get away with most things on Facebook. But I think I'm supposed to be, I don't know. I'm probably supposed to be on some social media place that, like, I don't even know the name of and I don't understand. My kids were talking about like some kind of blue comment the other day. And I was like, I have no idea. It's on TikTok. I don't know what it means. I've got like 3 videos on TikTok. I need to probably get on that. So long story short, I'm in a weird place where what I've been doing for so long, like, might not be allowed anymore. I don't know what to do. I really don't. Anyways, so we're going to podcast about it, but I've had a very interesting start to, or end, I guess, technically, to this year. My oldest has started junior high. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about Jameson. So he is so empathetic. I've been through a lot. Our family's been through a lot in the last 7 years. And he's my firstborn. From the time he was very little, he could read my mind. I don't know how else to put it. It's really, really weird. It's creepy. I'm not going to lie. like he'll know if I'm crying or in tears from another room. He just like feels so much. And with that, him and I've always been very open and honest with him. I'm just kind of like that with my kids. I don't do a lot of baby talk. I'm just what I am, which actually ties in pretty well to what I'm getting to. So we've just had this crazy close relationship. Every night we talk, we have fun. I mean, believe me, he still gets in trouble and he's still getting parented like in a big way. But like in those soft moments, for the most part, he's incredibly helpful. He's thoughtful. He makes sure that I'm okay. And at one point it was a concern of mine that he was like too caring, too like feeling like he had to care for me too much. And that's life, I guess. But thankfully we have a lot of open communication. So he's always had friends. He's always been, a kid who has people in his life and does things. But something happens in junior high. And I was really excited for him. His school's amazing. The teachers actually want to be teaching junior high, which I can't understand, but it's fantastic. He loves to be there. He wants to go to all the sporting events. He wants to, I don't even know. He probably wants to sleep there. I have no idea. He loves it. But like, I was not at all prepared as a mom. I mean, literally every first for your kids, it's the first for you. And I was so ill prepared for the part of this new world where, and I know this, I took psychology, I taught high school, like I studied this stuff. I understand the different stages of development, brain, psychological, emotional, communication. Like I just wasn't ready for it. I was not ready for the way it felt. And I did not think it would be the same with my kid. He cares more about his friends. That doesn't sound like very big deal when I say it, but it is a huge deal. It sucks. It sucks. Like, I don't think we're even like I don't think that he'll get a best friend tattoo with me anymore. He cares more about his friends. He's looking for autonomy. He is like, yeah, I was talking with, I think, my past producer, and he was saying, like the tribe, it goes from being in the home and that's where you need to fit and connect to now it's like outside the home. And I'm like, I don't want that. I'm going to go back to homeschooling. Just kidding. I would never do that. And so it became it's been obvious. And I mean, there's other pieces to it. There's like a little bit of an attitude, acting too cool, hanging out in the garage instead of in the house with us. But I'm like, okay, this is fine. I can still go out and have these conversations with them. And he still wants me to hang out with them at night and talk sometimes, unless he's like talking to a friend. But so what happened was he was on the phone and I didn't realize he was on the phone. I'm like, oh, I'd get in so much trouble for telling the story. I just don't even care. Nobody listens. Nobody in my family listens to my podcast, so I can talk about all of them. And so he was on the phone. I didn't realize he was on the phone. And he was on the phone with a friend who comes from a really strict, I wouldn't say really strict, but they're from Pakistan. And so it's like his best friend ever. And so they have a different culture. And I'm probably like a massive culture shock to them, like in every way, although they don't know it because they haven't seen all the different ways I would be a culture shock. But him and like best friends. And he's such a cool kid. He's so smart. I love their relationship. They are into like different things. Muhammad doesn't do sports. Jameson is huge in it. But I needed him to change because I needed to wash the pants. He was probably wearing baseball pants. I needed to wash them. And so he, can no longer get changed in front of me. And it's fine. I'm like, okay, Like, first of all, I'm not looking. And second of all, I don't know. It's just funny. It's weird. I'm not like, I don't walk around naked or anything, but I've never like had to hide or told my kids that they need to hide themselves or anything like that. So it's just funny. And so he went into his closet to change, and I said something along the lines of, I don't really know exactly what I said, but maybe it was like, you came screaming naked out of my vagina. You guys, I was a health teacher in my defense. Okay. And the reason that I wanted to teach health wasn't because I had some like driving force to be an educator and health was the only class I could teach. I didn't realize that it wasn't actually a class that people go to school to teach. They lied to me, first of all. Otherwise, I would have gone and gotten an MPH. But it's like the class that like the PE teacher picks up because there's an extra class and they need somebody to fill it. Like, I had no idea. And so the reason that I wanted to go teach health is because I really believed that I could speak to this age group. And it's still like my favorite age group. I would say from 15 to 25. I just have so much love for that totally confusing time of life. And so I am blunt. I wanted to tell kids exactly what the drugs would do to them. Good, bad, ugly, so that they would know. Because when you have information, when you know better, you do better. I wanted them to understand X. Okay, I'm in California, so like it turns out you're not actually allowed to teach health however you want to. That was also a big hindering. But when it comes down to it, it's like when the sex conversation comes up, I'm not like, and then they and they love each other and wiggle their noses against each other. I'm like, the penis goes in the vagina. Ejaculation. Ovulation. Like Jeremiah understands all of like uterine shedding and ovulation. That's just who I am. So it sounds ridiculous that I said this to him. I don't know that I said vagina. I don't really know what I said, but I said it and it was completely abhorrent to his friend. This kid was so freaked out. This is not how moms are supposed to talk. I totally get that. Like if I had known that they were on the phone with each other, I get it. But also, I'm not a bad person for talking the way that I do to my kids. And again, I don't know exactly what I said, but I know it wasn't like mean. It was just the truth. Also, that's a Dave Matthews quote. So that it's not like I came up with it. Sorry. I'm sorry for my coughs. Okay, so his friend is just like horrified. And this, I guess, he didn't tell me about this immediately. It's like a month later, 2 months. I don't even know. It's been a while. So I'm like, well, how come your friends don't ever come over? Like, stop FaceTiming and playing video games on the phone. Like, have them come over, please. Be in person. We're no longer having to stay away from people all the time. So he tells me that his friends are afraid of me because I'm weird. And he's like mad about it. He's not just telling me this, like he's upset because I embarrassed him. Apparently it's not just this one interaction. I don't know. And I'm like, what did I say? Like, what did I do? Well, it got to the point that he's basically saying, you're embarrassing and you're weird. And I am 100% in agreement with all of that, except he's never found me embarrassing or weird before. And like maybe everyone else in my life has, but this kid and I, like we've always gotten each other. And I have gotten through a lot of very difficult parenting challenges, from raising my kids basically by myself because of how far away and how long my husband would be gone for. No family to speak of, 3 very little kids. I'm like, we wouldn't have made it if I wasn't weird and willing to embarrass myself. Like, that's how we got through it. That's your mom. And so I was, for the very first time, seriously hurt by him. And I don't even know how to explain that. I have no doubt that people are hurt by their kids earlier on. And I'm not going to say that like I've never been upset or frustrated or sad for him, but I've never had my heart broken by him. And, you know, it's not the same as a husband or what. I'm not like comparing it to that, but like it is this really special relationship. And this is the first time that I'm experiencing the fact that I'm not exactly who he wants me to be or thinks he wants me to be, because I don't think he would really like me that much if I was just like strict and boring and normal. I mean, it's just not, I don't even know how to fake that. And so it took me a little bit of time to gather myself in this because I'm like, I don't know what to do. Like, I really don't know what to do here because this is my child. This isn't my husband. Do I need to take it seriously and figure out how to change who I am? Like, that is when you finally figured out who you are, when you understand yourself. Okay. First of all, you can't lose. Second of all, life is a lot more fun. Third of all, it's like you can't just change it. It's one thing when you're just trying to fit in and figure out who you are and all these things in most of your life. And some people never get out of that space. When you actually start to like do the heavy work, know what your faults are, like I can say, okay, yeah, I won't cuss in front of your friends. Like I know that, you know, I was a teacher. I could turn off, I could put a filter on. I do podcasts. Like there are times where I don't cuss. I can handle that, but I can't change who I am. I'm still going to be really weird, likely inappropriate. I might embarrass myself, really. I embarrass myself, I'm sure. I don't know. I don't get embarrassed, but maybe a lot of times people think she should be really embarrassed of herself. You can't just change who you are. It really like felt like an existential crisis. I don't know what I'm supposed to do here. I am not good enough for him was a feeling, you know? And I think the other piece of it for me was the fact that I realized the shift as well. Like I said, where he's no longer searching for his acceptance from within his family, which is good. It means that he knows he's accepted, right? That's a really great thing. But now he's seeking it from his friends and his peers. And so in this instance, where in the past he would be appalled of somebody saying something negative about his mom, it was more important to him to fit in. And so I was the bad guy. And I don't mind being the bad guy in stories, but to have him I don't feel like I need to be defended, but just seeing that he no longer was defensive, he was like in agreement because of his embarrassment or frustration or upset that his friend was horrified. I don't even know. But like, do you hear what I'm saying? And my feelings were hurt. Like my feelings were so hurt, and he's never hurt my feelings. He would never want to hurt my feelings. It was just so strange. I'm like, everything has changed. There's going to be, and anytime, and especially when it comes to like bad things, and this does not compare to the many bad things. This is actually very healthy and very good. I hate it, but it is a good thing. But there's the before and the after, right? And in parenthood, you're never prepared because this is a before and after moment. It's not my little child, like 100% my little baby anymore, who just wants to, it just like is happy with just me. It's over forever. That sucks. And I was not ready for it at all. Much like we aren't ready for so many of these moments that come in our lives. And it's just wild, man. So if you're wondering how I handled it, first of all, clearly, you know, I'm still weird. But if you're wondering how I handled it, I first went out to him and I said, okay, I hear you. I will not be myself around your friends, not your kids. I mean, his kids are going to get it all. 100% Katie, grandma, 100% Grammy, whatever they decide to call me. I don't even care. They can call me Pineapple. I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to come up with a name that's like totally random. Her Majesty. Yes. Her Majesty. They're going to get it. His friends, though, I'm like, I will refrain. And obviously I'm not going to talk like that in front of your friends. Okay. I would never. I didn't realize it, but I would never on purpose. So, but I'm like, I hear you and I'm going to try not to be weird and I'll do everything in my power not to embarrass you. I said, just so you know, I'm not any different than I've ever been. And you should know that in the future, asking a woman to be anything other than herself will not pan out very well for you or anyone. But you're my child and I love you. And I don't want you to feel this way. I don't want you to feel this way. So that was like part one of the conversation. Part two happened later that night when there was a mutiny on my hands. And I don't remember what it was, something to do with dinner. As always, I don't even want to talk about dinner, but something to do with dinner. I had a mutiny on my hands. Jameson, something you should know if you have a son and a daughter and they're like within 2 years of each other, 2.5, 3 years, they're going to be like getting their hormone surges for the first time together. So that really sucks and was bad planning on my part, but I didn't learn that in health, nor did I teach it. I didn't know. So yeah, we've got a lot of like teenagers going on here. And so he was just being, I don't know, angsty preteen kid. Georgia probably was mad because I didn't make macaroni and cheese and was sad about this situation and the realization that I'm having around it. And I had a meltdown, like a total, I was hysterical. I was looking at them going, oh my gosh, you're growing and I don't have babies. I don't have a single baby anymore. And how does that time just disappear? Life is so insane. All I ever wanted was to be a mom and have babies. And that feels so far away when it actually at the same time feels like it should still be my reality. And it sucks. And I don't care about getting older. I don't care about mortality or any of that. Like, I want it back though. I want to be able to get things back and we can't. And so it's always going to be so much about living in these moments. And what I am determined to do is, even when it's the difficult conversation, even when it feels a little too honest, I'm going to give as much to my kids right now as I possibly can in the way of wisdom, by the way of like treating them like a human. They hear a lot. And it's like, it's based on like their age. Jameson being the oldest, he gets a lot of honesty and probably more than a lot of other parents are willing to give. But it's the relationship we've built. And then, down to Jeremiah, it's by age. They don't get too much at a young age, but I don't know, whatever. I'm probably doing it all wrong. I don't really care. But I feel like the open communication is huge. So I am crying hysterically and like on stage in my kitchen for them. They're all terrified. They do not like when I'm upset, which it's just really beautiful to see empathy in your kids. And so I know that they're like worried for me, and I'm telling them, I'm not mad at any of you. I'm really not. You guys aren't doing anything wrong. You're just growing up and it's hard. I looked at Jameson and said, you hurt my feelings this week and you didn't do anything wrong. Like, how crazy is that? Right? He really didn't do anything wrong. It's okay for him to think I'm weird. He has a right to feel embarrassed by me. He didn't do anything wrong. It just hurt me. Like I felt hurt this week, but you didn't do anything wrong. This is like such a complicated part of life because we believe all of our lives that if we are hurt, if we feel hurt, that somebody did something to us. They did something wrong when maybe they didn't. Maybe you just have completely different value systems. Right now, Jameson and I have completely different value systems. His value for connection is within his friends and school and sports. Mine is with my family and these humans that I'm growing. He's not wrong for that being his value. It doesn't mean that it's not gonna change. It will. Not for a while. I hope that I don't know, over Christmas, it comes back to me just a little bit. But how wild is that? Does that open your brain up a little bit? Because I've been hurt. I have a couple situations going on right now, nothing major or anything, but I know that this isn't how I would handle this. This is not ideal for me, but it's not somebody doing something wrong to me. It's just that I see things differently. I know that. Story of my life. And I know that I've talked about taking complete responsibility for your life and your actions and everything, right? It's been a while, but I know that I've spoken for an entire podcast on that. It's really hard to play the victim when you're willing to take complete responsibility. And it took me a very long time to get to that place where I'm going, this is how I feel. What is in me? What is it about me that's making me react this way? Sometimes the answer really, really, really freaking sucks. Really bad. And it still doesn't make you feel real great about the situation. You still want to say the things, but you also go, what is the real point? So anyways, all of that is to say that I excused myself, and Jameson came into my bedroom and he was upset. He was worried. He was concerned. And I just told him again, I'm I said, this is life and I'm new here. And I wish that you didn't have to be the one, but you are. And so every first thing for you is a first for me for the rest of your life. And that's simply the truth. There's going to be things that I will have no idea how to handle. We've already done it. There's already been so many things where I'm oh my gosh, what? This? What? How did I have no idea that this was something I needed to work? What? It's crazy, but it's true. I am learning with him. And so I explained that to him and he heard me. And, we talked about how I felt around things, but also how he's not wrong for feeling the way he did. Sucked because there's not a complete resolution to something like that. And we want in life to be able to go, I'm right, you're wrong, this is the answer. And in real life, that's not always possible. There has to be a compromise somewhere. And that might mean one person totally, saying, you know what, this isn't worth me fighting on. I can accept this. It's all dependent on the situation, but it's everywhere. And I don't really know what it means. And I think that that's part of why I'm this is all really big. It's not that big. I'm sure I'll look back on it the first time he, I don't know, gets a drunk in public or something and be well, that was no big deal. He better not. So it's all relative, right? As with all things in life. But did just really bring so much thought to me around, I'm not going to sit here and be appreciate every moment. You can't. You just can't. It's hard. And we don't need to make people feel bad because they don't romanticize every moment of their life. People feel bad enough just signing into their Instagram account and seeing other people faking it. It's not about that, but it's about these moments that help you realize that it's crazy fleeting And in anything, in relationship, like a romantic relationship, there's going to be something that happens that takes that relationship from you're on the love boat and my heart beats fast, and there's going to be some kind of reality check that says like, oh gosh, we got to talk about something serious now. Like, this isn't just pure love and obsession anymore. We're not in lust. We have to like start to speak and figure difficult things out. And that changes it, because it should. And, Jameson got in a disagreement with one of his buddies, and there were things on both sides, and they were fighting, which is so funny. But then I talked with him and I was like, it's good that you're fighting. You cannot have a deep relationship with somebody. If you don't fight with somebody, then that means that it's surface level, and it's okay to have a lot of surface level relationships. But if you have somebody in your life, a best friend, a sister, your parents, your brother, your husband, your wife, and there's no disagreement, like, I am sorry to tell you, that is not a deep relationship. It doesn't mean that you have to, I'm not saying like horrible fights, but if there's no disagreement, like, you're not even in a relationship. You have a surface level relationship. And so, I explained that to him, and they worked it out. They wouldn't tell me how they worked it out. It was really funny though, because taking them to another basketball game, and they had gotten in a fight the night before at the basketball game. This is his other very, very super best friend. And so they go, I'm like, I don't think I should be taking you guys to this basketball game. And they're like, what? I'll try not to do my impression of the way that they talk, but they're like, why not? They don't have any understanding. I'm like, well, because last night did not go very well. And they're like, no, we have a deal. I want to know what that deal is. I have a feeling they wouldn't tell me. And Jameson tells me everything. So even still, he really does. But they wouldn't tell me, which means that it's probably a really bad deal. Like, it's probably, I would not agree with this deal. So anyways, I know this was a lot about kids and parenthood, but I also think it's a lot about really everything in life. We are always going to come across things that we're not ready for. And this was such a minor one. But as a mom, it felt really big. And just so many different things that it really brought to mind, as far as one, it's not about wrong or right. It's just not. And those moments that change life forever, that change a relationship forever. And when something is, when you realize that you're moving into a new phase with a kid, it's like a death. I'm not like, please don't get mad at me for saying that. It is not the same by any stretch of the imagination. And unfortunately, I've had to walk with some people through something like that. So it's not the same, but there is a mourning that happens, because that whole piece of your life is gone forever. I had a panic, and my mother and father-in-law both passed away in the last few years, but one was during the pandemic. And so we had a memorial service for them in like May. And I put together the picture show for them, because that's a hard thing to have to do for your parents. And looking at the pictures of the boys as babies with their parents, and I was like, it's really wild to think that all of the pictures of us with our babies have been taken already. And that sounds like a duh moment, but it's over. There's no more pictures of me with a baby. It's a weird thing to like really think about, because we just always see ourselves so different. And then looking at those pictures of you as a baby, and it feels like, I don't know, you feel like you have so much time and you don't, for anything. So I don't know what to title this. Don't worry, I won't come in here and talk about my kids all the time, but I just felt like I had so many different emotions and revelations and moments through this, and I'm not done. Like, he's still there. I went out in the garage yesterday and talked to him for a little bit. it was cool. It was special. And then last night, he was going to bed or I was going to bed, and he kind of gave me a look, and I was like, what did I do wrong this time? And he's like, nothing. I just wanted you to stay in for a while. And I was like, hop up on the bed, grab a blanket. What are we going to talk about? So he's still there. He's still there, but it's different now. Like, it is different. And I'm still going to be weird. Like, don't trust me. I can't, like, there's some of it I just can't even reel in if I try, but I'll be more careful. It's my job. So I hope that you guys are all having a next level November, and that December is going to be just as amazing. I have some really awesome shows planned coming up and really incredible people that I will be having on the show. And I will be sharing more things that I can't share on social media here because I don't want to keep my mouth shut. I might vlog a little bit more about them, but I just love doing this. I love being here. And I thank you so much. If you are a listener, I just appreciate you. Reach out. It means so much to get to connect with people. And I appreciate you. All right. It's almost time for pickup. Peace out. All right, there it is there. Thank you so much for joining us today on Level After Next podcast. Go ahead and subscribe so you don't miss anything. Or if you really don't want to have any FOMO, head over to levelafternext.org where you can catch up with all the things. Peace out.